What's up, guys? It's Lugo back with Flex Appeal episode 49. Today is the start of week 9. First push day had obviously bench. Start with bench. This was 90 kilos or 198 for 4 sets of 7. It felt pretty good. The only problem I had was like the second set, I just like forgot how to bench and I was like uneven and it felt weird. But then I was like, you know what? I could just watch my film. That's something that I started to do in between sets, was like to make it easier for myself in between, like when I record. I start chopping up my sets or like my videos mid workout because I set a timer like for the entire workout that I want to be done, so like an hour 15, an hour 30. So I'll just look at my camera, cut the video, and then I'll watch it so that I see if there's anything that I need to change. And it really helped me from set 2 to 3 because I was like, all right, my bench feels like shit. I feel like I'm out of the groove. And then I watched it. I thought about how I felt during my first set, which was really good. And then I pretty much emulated that perfectly for my third and fourth set. And I was back in the groove, which was really good. And I'm just grateful that I that I film and that I really don't care. Um, I'm not a dickhead about filming. I don't care if people walk in my camera. I don't care if they see it and they walk in front of it. I just like to film, and I will always film because I think that it's important for training. And honestly, maybe I film too much of my training. But I feel like even when I wasn't uploading, at a certain point in my career, I just started to film everything that I've done, just because I feel like it's valuable to go and watch it back. And maybe I guess you don't need to film everything in every set. Like unilateral stuff for me is kind of boring to watch, and it's kind of why I don't record a lot of my lateral raises or my unilateral RD flies, because it's just like that stuff is kind of boring and there's not much that you can really tweak to get a better stimulus from it. As soon as you have it figured out, it's pretty easy. But stuff like presses and making sure the tempo is good, and making sure you're pushing really hard is important to me. So like certain exercises that are compound stuff, and then stuff where I just need to make sure my form is good and I feel like it's not good. It's very valuable to record, and I've kind of gotten to the point where like I've recorded so much stuff I just genuinely don't care if people are like, "What the fuck is that guy recording?" And then most people like, I feel like it's all mental because nobody is really gonna say that. They might think it, but nobody will really say it to you. And I really don't care anyway. Fuck off. That's kind of schizomaxing though, thinking about that. But I kind of wanted to talk about my diet a little bit. Oh, my weight. I weighed myself yesterday. I was 306.4, point eight, which is like minus 6 pounds from my last weigh-in, 6.5 in about 12 days. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good progress. I'm very excited and happy with it because I felt like in my head I felt like my progress had stalled, even though like during my training and how I felt, it was not like I felt leaner, I felt more muscular, and I noticed that my training was still going well. So I was like, there has to be, like, it's just the weight that I can't see because of my circumstances and I can't get a good weigh in. So I just got in my head about it, and then actually seeing it is like very confirming that what I'm doing is working as well as how I'm feeling. Which is nice. It's always nice to know, even if you shouldn't focus on the scale. Sometimes we do. I do personally, and I get in my head. So seeing that actual change number go down is validating for me. Number go down good, basically. But as far as diet, I think I talked about it on the last video, or maybe the one before that. But I did swap out half of my ground beef because I would eat a pound a day. I started putting them in freezer baggies and like smashing it up so I can easily access it. And same thing with my chicken, so that I can have the half meals. So I'll have like chicken for one meal now, beef for another. And it's kind of just to like limit my fat intake a little bit because I felt like I was getting too high, and that was limiting my carbohydrate intake a little bit, which I think is pretty valuable for training, especially if you're in a big deficit. Like you definitely don't want to cut your carbohydrates a lot. And even though fat is easier for me to get meals down, like I want my training to go as well as possible because I'm a training junkie. Like I've stated multiple times, like training is the most important aspect for me in the gym. Like if I went through a period obviously where I just didn't care how I looked. Now I'm a little bit more adverse where it's like I want to be lean, I want to be muscular for the sake of training because I believe that when you're at a certain body fat, it unless you're going for like total overall strength, it'll be better for you to be in a more in a lean state to be more productive with your training and muscle building. Obviously, as long as you're not too lean, um, but I do think it is conducive to a better training environment. So it is something that I am aiming and striving for. And obviously, everybody wants to look like they lift. Like if people will say that they don't care to a certain extent, right? But I think that most people want to at least look like they're muscular and strong, even if they're not super lean. And I kind of went overboard for a long time, so regulating myself um, is something that's important to me now, and I'm really trying hard to get into that state again because I've never really achieved it for that long. I feel like most of my life I've been 30% plus body fat, except for like one occasion where I got really lean a few years ago. Not even really lean. I was like maybe 20%. People thought I was really lean because my upper body gets leaner faster, but I also store a lot of fat in my midsection, in my glutes, in my legs. So it's very deceiving, and I really, really want to get lean as well to prove to myself that I can do it. So that's pretty much it. I kind of yapped about a lot of stuff, but if you guys enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, a comment, or a subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 50.